Honorable Men Discord. Standing on business? Let's talk about it. What's going on within our community? No, really, what is going on in our community? Why do we champion and applaud ignorance the way we do? Is it the music we listen to? Is it the people we hang around? Is it the images that we watch? You know, it's funny. It's so funny. And not funny like, you grabbing your stomach, laughing funny. When I was younger, listening to rap music, and not all rap music was negative. Let me just put that there. And not all rap music, even today, is negative. So let me clarify that. But when I was listening to some unfavorable music from certain artists, my mother would tell me, careful what you put in your mind. It could affect you. And I never really understood that when I was younger. And I understand it now. Excuse me, I don't know why my voice. I understand it now, and I understand it on all levels. I understand the role that music plays on affecting the way you think. I also understand on the same for the images that you watch, whether it be movies, the video games. I never used to think that those things connected to the way we conduct ourselves. So when there were groups of people talking about, oh, I don't think video games with shooting like Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, when people would say, I don't like young boys playing those type of video games, or I don't like people listening to certain types of music, certain types of rap music, or I don't watch certain types of films, with the images they put in there. I used to think that people that spoke like that were just exaggerating. Like, when you're old enough to have common sense, I would think you could differentiate the difference between reality and just, I guess, entertainment. Now, some may be able to differentiate the two, but others struggle with being able to differentiate the two. But aside from that, I want to just bring it back to what is going on in our community, really. And I constantly address our community because not just for my own personal reasons, but because I have children in this world, and because the actions of some affects us all. And originally my title was going to be, why are black women so angry? That was my original title. And I literally changed the thumbnail to standing on business. The reason why I changed it on standing on business with the question mark is because this is not an attack on black women, because black men are doing the same thing. And I will get to black men on a separate episode. But what I have queued up here today are 3 separate incidences involving black women. And I put standing on business question mark because I'm trying to understand the mentality of what it is that we're doing out there. All right. Now, although this first video wasn't something that was done in a public space, right? This woman knew she had cameras, and she was aware that she was violating someone by putting hands on them, right? The two other videos I have queued up, one took place in Punta Cana, and then the last one took place in a restaurant, which we know in these public spaces like restaurants, bars, there's cameras. The thing is, it's evident that a select few of us, I should say, not we, because I don't want to be included in this. There's a select few of us that don't even care about the fact that there's cameras. We're so stuck on this standing on business BS. All right. That's that's the only thing I could think of, because I don't understand why we're operating like this. Where did we learn this type of behavior? It's barbaric. And then when other people look at us as though we're animals, we want to get offended. I get offended because I know my actions are not represented within some of the actions of few. But unfortunately for me, because of the actions of others, the world starts to develop a idea of what they think we're like as black people because of the actions of others. So that's what motivates me to speak on things like this, because I get annoyed of it. I'll be honest with you. It annoys me that because of the actions of others, I find myself in situations personally where I have to defend the actions of others as though I operate like that. And that should annoy, upset, and offend others like myself that are going out there in the world and conducting ourselves in a civilized manner. Civilized doesn't mean perfect. I'm not claiming to be perfect. All right, let me put that out there. I'm not the judge and jury. But a lot of these things that are taking place in the world needs to stop, because it's by adults. Some of these things are by adults. And what exactly are we doing? What are we doing? Let me just get into the first clip, all right? This is courtesy of Fox 5 News, and many of you have already seen this incident. But again, I have all three incidents queued up just to point out this is some of the images that are being put out there about us, particularly black women. So if you're a black woman and you're conducting yourself in a civilized fashion and these images do not represent you, you should be appalled and upset. And it's time for us as a community to start holding these individuals accountable for their actions. We need to speak against it, because the problem is we're not saying nothing. Some of us are not saying anything, maybe out of fear for retaliation. I understand that, but something's got to give. Because this whole standing on business thing, I don't even know where it started. I don't even care where it started. It's probably a term from the younger generation. I really don't care where it came from. Same thing with the I'm outside term that's being used. I'm pretty sure it came from the younger generation, and I don't stand I don't stand behind it. I don't stand for it, and I don't want to be represented by it either. Because then when I come along and I just want peace, you have certain individuals treating me as though I'm going to act as though I'm standing on business or I'm outside. Like, that's why I do episodes like this. But let's get into this first report.
Tonight, 18-year-old Jayla Cunningham is charged with second-degree assault. I talked to her exclusively moments ago. She says that she did not know that her client was 15 years old.
I have to pause it right there. And when I first watched this report, I told myself, make sure you pause it right after this gentleman said what he said. The hairstylist said she didn't know her client was 15. Now, many of you know about this story. The hairstylist who was seen dragging her client for, I think, non-payment or something like that, or the client didn't have all the funds. The statement that he just said, that the hairstylist said about she didn't know the client was 15. What exactly are you saying? So if she wasn't 15, it was fine? That was a suitable action because she wasn't, if you knew she wasn't 15? We got to do better, people. We have to do better. All right? Let's continue.
I also spoke to the 15-year-old's mother, and she says that her daughter is traumatized over what happened. This video has been viewed millions of times, and she says that her daughter is viral and did not want to be. Let's explain what happened. In the video that has more than 54 million views, you can see 18-year-old Jayla Cunningham dragging her 15-year-old client by the hooded sweatshirt, saying,
"Sit right here until somebody sends it. I'm not you just try to right? You lucky I ain't you.
Jayla claims the 15-year-old was trying to leave without paying for the $150 service that included a weave with tracks. Jayla cutting the weave out of the teen's hair with scissors because she says the teen did not pay for the service.
She ran, forget tried, she ran without paying me.
And then what did you do?
I dragged her by her hood back into the salon until I can get paid or...
Okay. This detail I didn't know. I didn't know she was, now, not justifying the hairstylist dragging the client, but I do know that when you're getting braids done, you're talking about hours of work. It's taxing on the hairstylist's hands, and it's time consuming. It's a lot of time spent working on someone's head when you're doing braiding, right? So I can only imagine once you complete the job, the person tries to get up and run. I can understand that. But dragging the client, there has to be a better way. The immediate motion, I understand the immediate motion. So I'm not gonna act as though I don't understand the immediate motion. So we can say the hairstylist, her anger got the best of her. But in the grand scheme of things, was this a regular client? Is this someone who you know her first and last name? How does she usually make payments? Does she make it through Zelle? Does she give you cash in hand? Because there has to be some type of way to find the client if the client chooses to run off, right? That there has to be an alternative. I understand for the hairstylist, she must have been upset. Like, again, she was hours of standing on her feet. Her hands were probably just finished by the time she spent all those hours working on that girl's hair. So I understand that, but we have to find better ways. We can't have excuses for why we just jump to violence. All right. So I have to stand on the direction I'm taking this episode. We have to stand on alternatives. We have to stand on alternatives. We can't chalk it up to excuses on, well, they made me feel this way, or we can't just choose violence as the first option. But let's continue.
Until the police come or until, she let me take out the service. Because it's like she literally ran outside. Like she was about to be gone. I feel like if I didn't do that, she would have been gone and I would have just never been paid.
But the 15-year-old's mother says Jayla also dragged her by her hair when she grabbed her hood and says that her daughter accidentally sent the money to the wrong Cash App and was trying to pay Jayla.
It's just absolutely absurd. It's viral. It's all over the country.
And how is she dealing emotionally with this?
Emotionally, not good. Not good at all.
The family has hired the Jackson and Associates law firm to represent the 15-year-old in a civil lawsuit.
The video is horrendous. It's a 15-year-old girl. We're talking about someone's child here, a child who is being dragged across a salon floor by her jacket for over something as simple as a mistake.
And Jayla Cunningham says that she had no clue that she was charged. We brought it to her attention tonight. She says she heard it for the first time and that she has received death threats as a result of the viral video, so she has moved her hair salon to another location. She has a first court appearance, a summons, on April 18th. As for the 15-year-old, well, her parents say she will undergo counseling. I'm
gonna stop it there because coincidentally, one of the things I was gonna cover this week was just on manners. Like who's raising us, similar to what I mentioned in one of my videos about TK Kirkland and his classic phrase, who raised you? Right? Manners, etiquette. Is that even being taught in the household anymore? And this is a serious question. I don't know what's being taught by this generation. The parents, it's a trickle down effect. Some of the parents that are out there were raised by horrible parents. Let's just be fully honest with ourselves. Some of the children out there that are now adults were raised by horrible parents. And sometimes some people, despite how they were raised, are capable and have shown to become great parents because they want to do the complete opposite of how they were raised by their parents or grandparents or family members or step parents. Sometimes children have the ability to become adults and do the opposite of the trauma that they were raised from. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what's the source. I'm gonna have to assume it's some type of trauma in your upbringing, but there's a select few of us that are raising children with the wrong morals, the wrong code of conduct. We're not teaching them any type of like manners and nothing. Etiquette. There's nothing being taught. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. This video, I had to mute out the audio because there's music playing and I don't want a copyright strike. This took place in Punta Cana. Evidently, when I saw the news report on this, this woman is claiming that you know, many times when you go on vacations and you're paying for certain things from these vendors, you're using devices to swipe your card. Like you don't necessarily have to pull out your card. You could just tap, you could phone tap. It's sort of like Apple Pay. Whatever the situation was, she was overcharged for a drink that she bought while she was on a boat in Punta Cana, and I guess she wanted her money back, and maybe there was a disconnect with language, which I'm sure there was a disconnect in language, or maybe she just got hustled. You know, this, similar to the first one, has to do with money. You know, the first one was about the allegedly the 15-year-old, however old the teenager was trying to run out the place without paying, which I could understand. That would really infuriate someone, especially after standing on their feet and working with their hands, right? This one has to do with, you know, you're trying to enjoy yourself a vacation, you make a payment and someone tries to take more money out than you initially tried to pay for a drink. So I understand how that could have you enraged. But again, we're adults. Are we gonna constantly have excuses for just going from 0 to 1,000 and choosing violence? Is that going to be the excuse? That's not going to hold up in a court. And that's another thing that I need to speak on. Forget about me and thinking whether or not, oh, this guy's very opinionated. What does he know? He needs to shut up. I'm just, these things don't hold up in court. So we're so quick to just, I got to stand on business. I got to react. I got to go from 0 to 1,000. A lot of these actions that some of you, men and women alike, are choosing to do is not going to hold up in court. So are you so enraged you're willing to sit behind bars, lose time away from your family, lose time away from your job, which in turn could eventually cause you to lose your job? Because if you end up doing time, that job's not going to be sitting there waiting for you. You'll lose your job. Even if you had a business or something like that, it's going to affect your business if you're not there to run your business. This whole standing on business, crashing out, it's not the best solution. This is what I'm trying to make clear. It's not the best solution for the individuals, and it's not the best solution for the community. It makes us look horrible, and it doesn't end with good results, period. All right, but let me go into this video. All right, this is how she reacted after, I guess, she didn't get the results she wanted. She didn't get her money. I mean, listen, you can dispute it with your bank. When you get back to the hotel room, the resort, or wherever she's staying at, the Airbnb, take it up with the bank. Take it up with the bank. Dispute the charge. Say, I paid for a drink. Dispute it. They know you're on vacation. Dispute it. Say, it was a pineapple drink I ordered, and they tried to charge me X amount of dollars over the amount that the drink cost. But to do this, she starts to destroy the person's floating cart, or whatever you want to call this. Let's get into it. So again, I have no audio because music's playing and I don't want the copyright strike. But she's going into this cooler, throwing his supplies out, yelling at them. You know, the guy's trying to retrieve his pineapples. You know, he's not attacking her. And here's the thing too, women. And I'm just speaking to the women because, like, again, the guys are doing this too. The guys are standing on business. But the difference between a guy standing on business in respect to a guy standing on business against another guy, that's an equal opponent. So if that worker chose to manhandle her, he'd be completely wrong because they would look at it like, he's a man, why are you handling that woman like that? And it would be a total mess. But one of the things that I encourage to women in general, especially women that choose to do things like this, is just understand that when you do things like this and you're doing it towards a male, don't be upset if that male exercises his right to protect his property. So now, while she chose to throw all his stuff in the water, as opposed to just being civil and going back to the resort and hashing it out with her bank, had he chose to tip the boat over and she splashed in the water, or if he would have threw a pineapple at her and it would have knocked her over, you know, you can't just go from 0 to 1,000 and think that's the best option. Because if the guy chose to do the same thing, then he'd be wrong. I just don't understand this logic. But let's move on to the next clip. It's another clip we have.
Police are investigating after a waitress is allegedly beaten by two women inside a Pilsen restaurant.
And it was all caught on camera. Nate Rogers is live to tell us what happened. Nate?
Yeah, that's right, Terrence and Sylvia. A really disturbing video that we're about to show you. You definitely want to brace yourself. The owner of this Pilsen restaurant says they pride themselves on great tasting food and good margaritas. He says in nearly 10 years, he's never had his staff attacked until now. Take a look at this god-awful video. This is from that very vicious brawl. Two female customers upset about their food order, stumping and punching a female waitress multiple times. It happened this past Friday evening inside El Taco Azteca along West Cermak Road. The owner tells me the customers had returned to the restaurant demanding money back after being dissatisfied with their food. Video captured the attackers throwing things in the business, trying to pull down decorations as well. That's when the waitress confronted them before she was punched. Here's more from the owner.
They come in to order some tacos or some margaritas and for to go. So after like 5-10 minutes, they leave. They come back and they come in. This almost finished the food. They not coming with the margaritas, so they said the tacos is not good. So they wanted the money back. Regular, my employees know when some people like that. So just give it the money back. That's the more correct.
Again, who raised these women? Who raised these women? Who raised these women? And again, this is not just a video of me highlighting some black women and how they behave in public, because of course there's black men, young black men doing the same thing. I think it's all ridiculous. I don't want to be associated with that type of ignorance. I want us to change our behavior, not just for ourselves, but for the community. This is just ridiculous. All right. There's no reason why a discrepancy in the service or the billing should lead to this type of animalistic behavior. And then you wonder why certain nationalities look at us a certain kind of way. Not that we should be conducting ourselves in a civilized manner to please others. That's not a reason to be civil. You conduct yourself in a civil manner because, one, you're an adult. Two, you represent your family if you actually come from good family. And three, if you actually have children, you should be the example for the children. I don't understand why these things are taking place, but it's completely disgusting. I don't condone it. I don't applaud it. I don't care anything about, again, standing on business or what's the other one? Crashing out. I'm not with any of that, or being outside if it means being outside for the sake of promoting negative energy and bringing your community down. This stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, it's a full-on fight as though they knew this person from some other place outside of the restaurant. You know, this can't just be about the fact that you ate most of the food and because you didn't get your money back. And I wouldn't even be surprised if that was actually what they were trying to do. They were trying to basically not pay for a meal, so they figured, let me eat most of it and then tell them it was no good and see if we got a free meal out of it. This is the kind of ridiculous things that some individuals go out there and do. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm completely against it. Anyone who's actually for this type of behavior, anyone who believes in standing on business and has a logical reason why they're going to stand on business, please see me in the comments. If you come in the comments with any type of negative, idiotic response, I'm just going to delete you. I don't do any back and forth with ignorant people. So let me make that clear. But I don't know what to make of all of this. I just know that we need to change our behavior and change the way we conduct ourselves, because you're affecting the community as a whole. Anyone that disagrees, by all means, see me in the comments. I appreciate everyone for watching. Let me just finish up this news report, by the way.
Because I don't want a problem like that.
Okay, that was good.
And we do know that that waitress is still recovering. We learned that she's 21 years old. She's only been working here, guys, about 5 months. The owner of the restaurant telling me she suffered multiple bruises and cuts throughout her body. Also, she suffered a broken finger. Now, Chicago police do have the surveillance video and pictures, pretty good surveillance video and pictures. No suspects in custody.
Listen, on camera, not that it would have made it more acceptable if it wasn't on camera, but again, all 3 videos I showed you, none of those reactions are going to result in positive outcomes, the outcomes that they wanted. All right, the hairstylist, does she get her money after dragging the client? Even if she did get her money, now she's up against a potential lawsuit, a civil suit. The second one, the person, all she has to do is handle it with her bank. She doesn't need to put on a whole scene and carry on the way she did on vacation. That's the type of energy you bring to a vacation. I don't want to be around any of that energy. That energy on vacation disgusts me. It disgusts me while I'm here in the States, and it disgusts me even further on vacation. And then this last incident, it's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? That's all I have for you today. Again, if you have anything to add to this, or if you disagree with anything that I said, by all means, I'll see you in the comments. But as always, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.